Hey everybody, it's Sam with Wrestling Overtime with your Raves and Rants review of AEW Dynamite on May 27th, 2020. And they started off tonight with a recap of Double or Nothing. And if you did not hear my episode on Double or Nothing, you need to stop right now and make sure that you go back and listen to how wonderful Double or Nothing was and how you're supposed to put on a pay-per-view like that during the COVID pandemic with no fans really being allowed. But they start off showing the Inner Circle and how they are outside, and Jericho shows the Inner Circle the t-shirt that he had made up before Double or Nothing that said the Stadium Stampede Champs. But, of course, they didn't win. So, he is trying to find a positive view about this and says at least it's only a couple boxes. But, of course, Santana has to burst his bubble and show him that they have hundreds of boxes in the back of the truck. And so we see Jericho smacking his head, and he is basically just dying. They talk about how they're going to have a pep rally later to get back on track and back to their winning ways. And then we hear JR, Tony Schiavone, and Excalibur at the announcer's table, and they tell us that we're going to find out tonight who Cody's first opponent is in a battle royale. And Kip Sabian and Jimmy Havoc are going to face SCU in a number one contenders match for the tag team titles to get to see who goes up against Kenny Omega and Adam Hangman Page. We're also tonight going to see Brian Cage in action, and Shadia is going to come out tonight in, her first time with the belt that she won at Double or Nothing. And then they say Mike Tyson is here. And they say it's for some reason, but, I sat and kind of think on that a little bit before they go to the Elite, and then I thought about it on the first commercial break, and I'm not real sure why Mike Tyson is here, unless maybe he's going to get into it with Jake the Snake or Lance Archer or something. Somehow something's going to happen. I don't know. We see the Elite backstage, and he is tag teaming tonight, or Matt Hardy is tag teaming tonight with the Young Bucks. And he immediately starts talking as Broken Matt Hardy or Damascus or whatever, and we see Hangman basically almost lose his mind and is like, I'm out here, I gotta go get a drink. And Kenny says, he's gonna go have some milk with him, and leaves the Young Bucks with Matt Hardy. Well, the Young Bucks decide to talk to him and say, well, when they go out tonight, they want him to just be Matt Hardy. They don't need Broken Matt or Damascus. And Matt Hardy actually takes this pretty well. And he goes out and he comes back as the Hardy Boys, Matt Hardy, dressed as him like he did at the Stadium Stampede. And Nick and Matt look at each other and are like, we really weren't thinking of that Matt Hardy. So Matt Hardy again goes and changes and comes back as another character, which this time he is Extreme Matt Hardy, and he actually has an elite bandana all wrapped around his head, and the Young Bucks said, this will do. Well, I think it's going to be better than this will do. I think this is actually, going to be kind of cool. So after we come back from commercial, we get to see Private Party with Joey Janela as their partner against Extreme Matt Hardy and the Young Bucks. This was a pretty good match. This is one that if you've got some time, you may want to look up on YouTube. It was definitely very high-flying and action-packed. For instance, the Young Bucks took out Private Party with a double-team springboard while Matt Hardy hit Poetry in Motion on Joey Janela. And so it was like that, action-packed, something going on all the time. And it wasn't necessarily, them doing top rope maneuvers. They did do them. I don't want you to think that it wasn't high flying, but there were stuff off the ropes happening on the floor. But for me, the best part of this match had to be when JR started making fun of WWE for using plexiglass to separate their crowd from the ring. He was hilarious. JR is pretty smart, and he doesn't care to tell you like it is, to be straight up, and just tell the fans, that he thought it was really unusual for them to use that to create a hockey rink look, but also the people behind the plexiglass, those are wrestlers from NXT. Those are wrestlers from the Performance Center. It's not like you need to keep them away from the main roster or anything like that, because they're seeing them all the time anyway. They're working out together. They're training together, things like that. And it just is weird to have, the plexiglass up there. And I don't know, to me, it's a little distracting. But at the end of the match, the Bucks hit the more bang for your buck, and then Matt Hardy pinned them for the win, and they kind of celebrated. But during this match, Marquez Quinn got hurt. So we see the referee helping him backstage, and Matt Hardy runs over and starts helping him backstage. And that caused me to think, well, wait a minute, is this real? Is his injury real? Because you don't normally have, someone that you just went up against help you backstage. Usually it would have been Joey Janela or something like that. But we all know in real life Matt Hardy is a good guy. So I thought, well, maybe that's real. I'm not 100%. Well, immediately after I have that thought, then I see the Butcher and the Blade storm the ring from the crowd. They had already showed them in the crowd earlier. And the first question that I wanted to ask is, where's the masks? Where are your outfits? Are you changing things up? You're not wanting to be confused with the Dark Order, so you drop the masks? Because there's no explanation for that. Unless they've been on AEW Dark, which I haven't seen, and they haven't been performing with masks, and there was a reason given there. I really wish they would have kind of told us what was going on. Now, I still can't tell them apart. I don't know which one's the Butcher and which one's the Blade. I have to really listen to the announcers to figure that out. But one of them has crazy hair that they need to get, I know we're in quarantine and everything, and, you know, they can't go get haircuts like normal, but maybe they need to have Brandy take some hedge clippers to that or something. But soon after they jump the Bucks, we see FTR pull up to the stage in their pickup truck, get out, and walk to the ring. And I am marking out. I have been waiting for this since they got the release from WWE. Everybody should have known that they were coming to AEW to take on the Young Bucks. And they actually look like they're going to get in the ring and beat on the Young Bucks and help the Butcher and the Blade out. But they turned around and beat down the Butcher and the Blade. Dax and Cash actually hit a double team pile driver to the Blade, and it looked like they had not missed a second into the ring. Then they turned to the Bucks, and it looks like they're thinking, and the Bucks end up getting and super kicking the Butcher as maybe he was going after FTR. And then FTR hit the shatter machine on the Butcher. They just stare at the Young Bucks, and then they turn around and leave. They walk right out of the ring and get in their truck. And I thought, what an unbelievable debut. That was awesome. They couldn't have planned it better. It fit their style. It fit their team. Oh my gosh, the best tag team in the world is here tonight, and they actually showed it. They never said a word. They just got in, made their debut, showed everybody how there's no flips, just fists, hit the shatter machine, and served their notice papers, hello, we're here, and left. And I was like, oh, this is awesome. Cannot wait for the build of the Young Bucks against FTR. Then we see Jon Moxley come out, and he goes over to the announcer's table. He says he was in a war with Brody Lee at Double or Nothing, that it was the fight of his life, but Brian Cage appeared out of nowhere, and he didn't know he was coming, and won the casino ladder match, won the poker chip, and now he has to face him. And so, since he is up next, Jon Moxley is here to scout his opponent. Well, we see Brian Cage with Taz come out to take on Lee Johnson. I can't tell you how sorry I feel for Lee Johnson. Brian Cage attacked him before the bell. Finally, the referee got to start the match, and Cage hit, I think, 2 or 3 different maneuvers, and then he German suplexed Lee Johnson basically across the ring. It was awesome. Taz was laughing. Brian Cage threw him. And then he hit a power bomb, which he followed up with a buckle bomb, and then he hit his drill claw and pinned him. And he looked unbeatable. They really choreographed that match really well to make him look like, his nickname, The Machine. Just somebody that was going to get in a ring and just take care of you. So Taz proceeds to get in the ring, grab a mic, and cut a promo on Jon Moxley. And if you haven't listened to Taz's podcasts throughout the years, and heard him with Moose on CBS Sports. Let me tell you, Taz has not missed a step in the promo department. He tells Jon Moxley at Fyter Fest that he is dealing with something different. He is dealing with a machine. That Brian Cage wants to rip his heart out, and then Taz changes his catchphrase around a little bit and says, "This is Brian Cage, the machine. Beat him if you can. Survive if he lets you." And I was a little shocked. I didn't think that Taz would give up his "survive if he lets you," or "survive if I let you," which is his catchphrase and what he was known for. So he truly must believe in Brian Cage as a person, or AEW paid him some nice money to let him use that catchphrase. I don't know. After commercial, we are graced with Dr. Britt Baker's presence, of course. She is wheeled out in a wheelchair and, of course, has a stick. And Tony Schiavone is out there. Poor Tony. And she starts continuing to read her rules of being a role model, and then proceeds to kind of lose focus a little bit and talks about how last week on Dynamite it wasn't an accident. She believes it was an assault and a conspiracy against her by the other three, even her tag team partner, because they didn't want her at Double or Nothing. Dr. Britt Baker says that she is good friends with the brass at TNT, and there is no women's division without her. Then her little helper goes and gets a board that she puts up, and it's an evidence board like you would see on TV that the police do, that have different pictures of people on it and the strings that go from one picture to the next to connect everything. And in the middle, where everything connects, is a picture of Aubrey Edwards. You know, the referee? She says that Aubrey Edwards is the brains behind all of this. That she's been the referee every time she's gotten injured, and she believes that she is out to get her. And then Britt Baker says she will be back at AEW's All Out and leaves. Now, as she's rolling away, we see on the back of her wheelchair that it says roll model, meaning ROLL, roll, as you roll a chair. But I was like, that is an excellent way to use Britt Baker, even though she's injured, to continue her promos, to continue her causing chaos, and not let us fans forget her. And so I thought that was pretty cool. Now, after the next commercial, we come back, and the Inner Circle are backstage. Jericho says that the pep rally tonight's going to be one of the greatest things of all time, and that they have cheerleaders and drum lines and presents. And as he's getting them pumped up and excited, Orange Cassidy walks by. Now, we all know Orange Cassidy, he didn't say a word. He didn't get in their way. He just walked. But Chris Jericho is pissed. And you can tell. So, Orange Cassidy, you better be looking out, because I have a funny feeling the Inner Circle is coming after you. Then we see and meet Christy James. And she's taking on Shadea. Christy James in this match landed some hard chops. She landed a springboard arm drag. She started dancing and trash talking Shadea. This is her debut, and I'm like, this is our AEW brand new women's champion, and this is what you're doing? But, you know, pretty quickly Shadea takes over. She ends up hitting a running knee and then a Falcon Arrow for the win. But watching this match, it was longer than what I thought it should be. I didn't think that James should have gotten as much offense, especially since Shadea just won the championship, and I thought that they would build her up and let her run over opponents like this. So, a little weird for me. After that, we see Cody. Cody comes out with Iron Anderson and joins Tony Schiavone in the ring. And of course, Tony congratulates Cody on his victory to win the TNT championship, to be the first time ever champion, and defeat Lance Archer. Cody starts off and says, or asks, I guess, if Tony knows why Tom Brady is his favorite quarterback. Brady wasn't picked first. Cody says, you know, he wasn't either. He wasn't the first choice. He wasn't the second choice. He wasn't the third choice. And he just kind of holds up four fingers. Of course, this is going to start the whole Four Horsemen rumors up again, because that's been a rumor since AEW started that Cody would start the Four Horsemen back up. And when they signed Iron Anderson and Tully Blanchard, the rumors got worse. And since Cody just stopped doing four, I know it's going to start those rumors up. But when you think about it, Cody was the fourth. You know, you have the Young Bucks and Kenny Omega, and that's who most people thought about when they thought about AEW. They thought Young Bucks and Kenny Omega. Now, I didn't, because as I've told you guys before, I've followed Cody forever and really enjoy what he does, and got excited about this promo because he said he was a 21-year-old kid that was called up, and he barely knew how to hit the ropes. And that's so true. You know, WWE signed him, you know, really soon, and just kind of threw him in there and said swim. And Cody says that he didn't get any of the dominant genes like Dustin. He is not a natural. He's not Simba. But what he got was from his angry little mother, who has a broken ankle, but she's still walking around. His mom taught him about grit and fight, and how no one, and he stresses no one, will outrun or outfight him. And that every single week, he is going to come out to the ring and have an open challenge for the TNT Championship title. He says it's his obligation to give us the best. And when he said that, I got chills, because I love Cody. I mean, can you wish for anything else than a workhorse champion that is going to be on TNT and defend the TNT belt every week? He's going to make sure that he gives us what we deserve, and I just love that. After commercial, we get Kip Sabian and Jimmy Havoc versus SCU. And of course, Kip can't go anywhere without his girlfriend, well, I should say fiance, Penelope Ford. You guys know I can't say her first name. I will learn it eventually. And this is the number one contenders match. Now, of course, Kip and Jimmy have to attack first. This ended up being, I don't know, an okay match. You could tell that Kip and Jimmy aren't as an experienced tag team compared to SCU. Scorpio Sky and Frankie Kazarian just move as one unit. They kind of know where each other are going to go and everything. But you could see that Kip and Jimmy, they have worked together, they've known each other a while, but they're just a little slower with their moveset because they don't really know where each other's going. They aren't as smooth. But you can tell by the way the announcers are talking about him that AEW is going to really want to push them. And so we see Ford distracting Frankie Kazarian, which ends up letting Kip drop kick Scorpio Sky, and Jimmy Havoc comes out of nowhere and rolls him up for the pin. So we're going to see Kip Sabian and Jimmy Havoc take on Kenny Omega and Hangman Page. I don't think AEW is wanting to push Jimmy and Kip to the tag team titles. I think they were wanting to push them to be in this match so they could sell it. But I really don't think that they're going to win the titles, or at least I hope not. I can't see them, I don't know, being the tag team champions. To me, they're singles wrestlers that are friends that they've kind of stuck them together as a tag team. And I don't know, I kind of want them to stay that way. Then we get an MJF promo. And of course, you know that I also love MJF and his attitude. He talks about how he is the best performer in AEW and that he didn't have to come from another company to get that title. He can't get a title shot, however. And he's going to change that tonight by being in the Battle Royal, and he's going to take on Cody for the TNT Championship title next week. He says Wardlow is also in it, and that he is his insurance policy. That Wardlow knows what to do, and we see Wardlow go to speak, but MJF raises his voice at him, almost screams at him, and then laughs as Wardlow just kind of stares at him. I think we're seeing the breaks in this. We all know MJF can be a little bit of a pain, and I think that he's going to push Wardlow too far, and we're going to see that happen soon. So we get the Battle Royale for the number one contender for the TNT Championship. And I'm a little shocked. I mean, I understand why they didn't have this at Double or Nothing, but I'm shocked that we're getting it, the very first show back from Double or Nothing. Because it has MJF, Wardlow, Colt Cabana, Billy Gunn, Marco Stunt, Luchasaurus, Jungle Boy, Orange Cassidy, Luther, Sonny Kiss, and Christopher Daniels in it. Now, I might be missing someone because I tried to get everybody that they could, but I thought, man, oh man, I would like to see a showdown with Luchasaurus and Wardlow. I would like to see either one of them against Cody, but I would like to see them against each other right now in this match. And then I immediately thought, man, I really would like to see Colt Cabana get a shot. Poor guy, I mean, he's never really gotten his shot, and I think he can get over with the fans something unreal like. I think he could be a big star here in AEW if given the chance. So I'm kind of thinking, I don't really want to see MJF versus Cody yet. I know it's coming. I'm excited. But I don't want to see it yet. So I don't really want him to win. So let's kind of go through this. I'm not going to go through it, move by move, but going to kind of tell you the highlights because, excuse me, we see Santana and Ortiz attack Orange Cassidy right off the bat. They try to take him out. They're not really in the match. They just want to take him out for walking through Jericho's speech. We see MJF climb up on the top rope over in the corner and sit down, and he has Wardlow in front of him, kind of guarding him, I guess. And it immediately becomes chaos. Luther and Sonny Kiss are the first eliminated, and, that doesn't really surprise me because I don't really feel like they built up their characters a lot. I know they're trying to on AEW Dark, but on Dynamite, I don't think a lot of people really know who they are or what their backgrounds are. And then, of course, Billy Gunn has to throw Boom Boom Colt Cabana out, Dashing My Dreams. And then we see Luchasaurus get eliminated after MJF chop box him while he was getting ready to go face to face with Wardlow. Then Billy Gunn ended up getting involved, and Wardlow and MJF threw both of them out, both Billy Gunn and Luchasaurus over the top rope, and said goodbye. So Wardlow and MJF were then kind of looking around, and Orange Cassidy rolls in. MJF goes to hit him with his diamond ring, but instead Orange Cassidy moves out of the way and he hits Wardlow. So MJF gets surprised by Jungle Boy, who tosses him over the top, and then Jungle Boy and Orange Cassidy team up and throw Wardlow over the top, which I wasn't sure that was possible. But it is just the two of them. It is it is Jungle Boy and Orange Cassidy. They go back and forth pretty well. I really was impressed with them. I would like to see a match with them now. They were pretty good, and Jungle Boy ended up hitting a Hurricanrana on Orange Cassidy, throwing him over the rope, and Jungle Boy is gonna get a shot at the TNT Championship next week against Cody. And as I think about that, Jungle Boy versus Cody, I don't know. Maybe that's not going to be bad. They have two different styles and should be a good match. Then we have to end the show. Us come to our, I guess, main event, if you can call it that. It's the Inner Circle's pep rally, and they have cheerleaders and a drum line on the stage. Vicky Guerrero comes out to introduce, well, come on, let's be honest, she screams the Inner Circle, each one of them as they come out. Jericho comes out, throwing t-shirts to the crowd. And then they start presenting presents to each other. Sammy Guevara got them all random trophies. Said it was hard to get trophies, during the pandemic. Really weird. And then Santana got them all random gifts, like gave Ortiz a burrito and gave a picture of Mark Anthony to Jericho. But anyway, Jericho got Sammy a scooter because he said he knows that he took a heck of a shot at Double or Nothing in that stadium stampede, and he did after being chased by the golf cart and then Kenny Omega doing the one-winged angel on him. So Sammy gets on the scooter and starts riding it around. Jericho said because Ortiz couldn't hear because he got his bell rang in the Stadium Stampede, he got him headphones that will make him hear. Not really sure what headphones actually make you hear better, but okay. Jake Hager ended up writing a poem where he talked about choking people out and how he's going to run over the Elite with his Tesla. Not real sure about that. Sammy then stops riding the scooter long enough to ask Jericho what he wanted. And of course Jericho says he wants Mike Tyson's head on a platter. That he hasn't forgotten 10 years ago when Tyson turned on him in the ring and knocked him out. If you guys have the WWE Network, look that up. It's pretty unreal. It was good. It was good. And I can understand why Jericho hasn't forgotten it. But anyway, like magic, Mike Tyson comes out with his crew. Now, his crew consists of a lot of people I don't recognize, but I do recognize Henry Cejudo, I think is how you pronounce his last name, Victor Bellator, Rashad Evans, a bunch of UFC fighters. And they come and stand and go toe-to-toe with the Inner Circle. Jericho tells Tyson to shut his mouth because Tyson is saying stuff to Jericho. And Tyson ends up grabbing the mic and pulls it close to him and calls Jericho a sucker, that he deserved to be betrayed. Well, Jericho jerks the microphone away from him and tells him to apologize. So this is where I get confused. Jericho tells him to apologize, and Tyson proceeds to rip his shirt down the middle, and he can't get it ripped all the way, and then he takes off his shirt. He can't get it off because it isn't ripped, and it looks weird. And then I'm thinking, who are you? Do you think you're Hulk Hogan? We're not in the WWE. This is AEW. What are you doing ripping your shirt that you can't do? Like Hulk Hogan. I didn't get that one. If you get it, you guys need to write me and tell me what's going on. But he ends up quit fiddling with his shirt and he shoves Jericho, which, of course, Jericho just shoves Tyson back, and the brawl begins. Of course, the whole entire locker room and refs run out to try to stop it, to separate them. But I'm thinking, man, oh man, if this was real life, these UFC guys would have just reared back and knocked Sammy Guevara probably into the first row. He's 185 pounds. Can you imagine Rashad Evans hitting him? I mean, unreal. The thing that I can say is all of these guys from UFC at one time or another have been rumored to want to be in pro wrestling. So I'm wondering if AEW is kind of letting them try this out and may possibly be bringing them on. If you listen to the Bella Twins podcast, and it's called the Bella's Podcast, they actually, in one of their early episodes, had Henry Cejudo on and talked to him about pro wrestling. The only comment that he really made was the travel and traveling all the time, and how that was different from UFC because, you train for a fight for 6 to 8 weeks, you have the fight, and then you're off for a little while, and then, you go back into training camp. Well, AEW is perfect for them because, it's a 1-2 day a week thing, unless they're doing some promotion stuff, and these guys are used to promoting big fights and everything. So I'm interested in this. At the end of it, we see Chris Jericho and Colt Cabana kind of, I don't know, they were slapping each other. Jericho actually ended up pushing Colt Cabana off the ring apron as they were showing him pointing a finger towards Mike Tyson. And then you see Colt Cabana get back up, and he kind of shoves Jericho and says something to him, and like I said, they're kind of in a little slapping battle as they go off the air. So, as this episode ends, of course, I'm wanting to know where does AEW go with this? What is the storyline? Is it, the UFC and Mike Tyson against the Inner Circle? Is it Chris Jericho and Mike Tyson? What are we going to do with this storyline? How are they going to end it? Is Mike Tyson going to get in a ring? Is Chris Jericho going to be stupid enough to box? I don't know. I look for them to possibly do maybe some cinematic match, possibly at Fyter Fest, and it not be an actual maybe wrestling match. I don't know. It depends on how creative Chris Jericho wants to be. And then, if I'm right, it looks like we're getting 2 title matches next week. Looks like we're getting Cody versus Jungle Boy, and then Kip Sabian and Jimmy Havoc versus Hangman Page and Kenny Omega. So, really interested if that's happening. And then, they didn't say anything about Ray Phoenix. The same show that Britt Baker got hurt on, Ray Phoenix got hurt on. He wasn't at Double or Nothing because he got hurt, and they didn't give us an update on him. And during Double or Nothing, like I told you guys on the Double or Nothing episode, Darby Allin took some spills. The move he did with his skateboard, where he hit a ladder with his skateboard, and it looked like the skateboard broke, and he jammed his ankle leg area and was limping around. I think he hurt himself. And then for him to be laying down on top of a ladder and Brian Cage to take that ladder and throw it from the ring, and Darby Allin and the ladder go flying into another ladder, I'm wondering, is Darby Allin okay? Because, again, they didn't give us an update. So I would have, I really would have liked that if they would have gave us some kind of update. If you guys know what's going on, or you guys have any questions, comments, problems, or protests, you guys know, hit me up on Twitter, or our Facebook page, or write me at wrestlingovertime@gmail.com. Let me know what you guys are thinking and what you guys see in the future, because our build is, I guess, up to Fyter Fest. They haven't really said the date, but with this, being May 27th, I'm thinking either right around July 4th, maybe a little after. So, interesting for the build for that. But, I can't wait. Maybe something will come out. Cause you guys know this is Wednesday, so before SmackDown, you guys will get a news and updates next episode, and maybe I'll have some information then. But we'll see, and I will be talking to you guys soon. Remember, I am working overtime to give you guys what you want.